fix my hair.
Okay, we're live.
I can't hear anything.
I hear you. Oh, it says we are live.
Hi, everyone! Are we really live now? Yes.
It says we are. There's a little yellow light that says live. Yes.
Okay, so who goes? Well, I'll start. I'm Megan Chakowski, and I'm super excited to be here with Amy and Rachel. And I'll let Rachel tell you a little bit about what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Well, awesome. I'm Rachel Coleman. I am the creator and host of Signing Time. That's what most people know me from. I didn't wear orange. I should so get my jacket. Should I run upstairs and get my jacket? Yeah,
Awesome.
So we're talking about education and the summer and all the types of things that you can do this summer to keep learning even when your kids aren't in school, which I have to say for me, I'm so glad my kids are out of school. I pull them out for like the littlest reasons. I'm like, yeah, we're just not going to school. We're gonna go do something fun. So I don't know. That's the kind of mom I am.
Well, you're a very awesome kind of mom, if you ask me. My kids would want you.
Well, I don't know. I just figure there's so much more to learn. Kind of, I don't know. There's just so much more to learn in the world rather than sitting in a classroom for 8 hours. You know.
True.
Okay, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Amy Mascott. I write a blog called teachmama.com. I'm a former high school English teacher, currently reading specialist with 3 kids at home, 10, 8, and 7, and we are very excited for our last day of school tomorrow. Yay! So let the summer fun begin for us in just a few hours. Countdown's on.
So awesome, so awesome. Ours was last week, and so happy.
No, it's so much more fun that it's summer. Amy, I'm so excited for that. It's you. That you're done tomorrow. Yay.
I know. It's just so nice. All the kids brought their backpacks home and their folders and everything home today. So, like, I just got rid of everything. You know, kind of organized the things for just a summer schedule, which I'm thrilled about. So I'm excited to talk to you about how to make learning fun tonight with you guys.
Yay.
Awesome. Yay.
Did I introduce myself? I'll introduce myself really quick. I'm Megan Chakowski. I am also a blogger at coffeecupsandcrimes.com, and I have 3 kids, 4, 6, and 8, and we were done with school last week, and it could not come soon enough. I really need to find a school district where they stop at Memorial Day and don't start till after Labor Day, because I really don't think I should be doing anything in between. I am all for summer and learning and keeping it fun while we're off, but still summer, yes.
So we had year-round school once, and I really thought that was the best. So I don't know. I found it awesome. But so in the meantime, what we do, at least in my family, is we make educational media. We're creating programs that teach families throughout the summer, throughout the school year, and really taking that on, because what we have found is most of the major networks and cable stations, they think you as parents are no longer interested in educational media. Truly. There's no more preschool on TV. And if you start noticing the direction it's going, that's really where it's going. So how do you measure if a type of media is educational?
Do you want to go first, Amy? Or
Sure.
Yeah, how do you measure that for your family? How do you decide?
Well, I mean, I think once you get past, a certain age, it's very clear, what programs have some meat to them and which ones don't. And because my kids are, moving slowly towards tweendom, things are they're tough. I mean, the worthwhile educational programming is far and few between. But I feel like, especially for early education, I can just, you could just tell that, kids are enjoying what they're watching and they're also learning something, whether it's a language, whether it's, fun facts, how to interact with each other. That's how I tell, at least. If it is like complete and utter junk for your brain, which is what I call, certain programs on television that don't seem to have any educational value, then you just know. And I don't think it's not rocket science telling, what programs are worth your time and which ones aren't. It's just a matter of selling those to your kids and providing them as the programming that you're watching,
What is so great about what you said as far as selling it to your kids, that's a great perspective from a parent, like a parent selling something to your kids, rather than what television does is they're trying to sell something to your kids. They're like literally trying to sell something to you and your kids. And so it's not always the same interest that you have as a parent. So I'm curious to know, the other shows that you talk about, like, are there shows that you feel uncomfortable having your children watch, even if it's targeted toward their age? Like,
I don't want to go. I would say yes, definitely. Yeah. I notice. Well, I especially have a just turned 6-year-old and a just turned 4-year-old, so they've been 3 and 5 for the majority of the last part of the year or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would say that I tend to be on the pickier side about television. We don't. We limit a lot of our shows. I'm not super into like them being big kids and getting to watch everything. We're just not there yet. And luckily we can they go along with it easily. But I will say that we have been places or we've been in hotels and it's kind of just like, we'll watch whatever this is while we all try to get ready. And I would say that the way that you can tell the differences is that they start using cranky words. Like there are a lot of shows that are definitely marketed toward around like preschool, kindergarten age-ish, where I think the characters like don't use nice words. They don't talk like kindly to each other, and that's like I have a big issue with that because that's not how my children are interacting with these situations. That's not how it gets presented at preschool. That's not how it happens in house, and not how we problem solve the situation. So I noticed that right away. Like they kind of like feel all cool, and they start. I'm sorry. I don't have headphones right with me, so I'm sorry. I'll just get closer in case you guys can't hear me. But I notice a difference in their behavior, and I can see it in their play. Like they're very big into pretend play. So I can tell if the stuff that they're playing is where it comes from, and if we want to continue that.
So great. It's so great. Actually, just by listening, I think, you turn on the TV and you listen, and so many of the shows, I don't know what it is, but if you start listening, the characters, they scream. Like they don't have a conversation. Everything is unnecessarily loud, And I think it's great that it sounds like you've limited the amount of television in your home, and I think that is great. There are many, many ways to be entertained and to learn, and I get worried when families are watching too much TV. And I make shows. So what methods of learning are you seeing as successful for kids?
I think I'll jump in. I think any kind of learning where the kids are, using their hands, using their brains, using their own creative juices, and I guess that multisensory learning, a lot of child-led learning is successful for us. If my kids are, really seem to be into parakeets, new pet, then we'll go with that, and we'll, go to the pet store and see what's going on there, ask our vet if they could help us, just try to do a couple things, make it hands-on as much as possible, so it's multisensory and child-led, kind of meaningful for them.
So great. Definitely follow their lead.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Especially with my little kids, that they have like varied interests. So when you can find something, that's why we're sort of like just like discovering YouTube at our house. Like I've obviously heard of it before, but for the kids, like now it's cool to be able to, when they're interested in something, find it, and they can like see it. So they really, really, really were obsessed with like frogs and tadpoles, and we live in Florida, and there's a lot of alligators right now, and it was like mating season, and you can't go to the ponds and try to look in there. Well, you could. You can't go to the ponds and look at them for fear of like literally the alligators are right there. So it was cool to be able to go and find like other people went and videoed it and they got to see it, and it was. I think that there's a lot of like really fun stuff that you can do with media that you definitely didn't even exist when I was little. It's just amazing to be able to like be interested in something and then be able to learn more right about it right then. So I think it's really cool.
Yep, there's information at our fingertips now.
Yeah, totally.
Anything they want to learn.
Which is so cool and also so scary too,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, we had those like big sets of encyclopedias in our house, and I remember, when the guy came to my parents' house, we were all little, excuse me, and this guy was, in a suit and like sold the encyclopedia set, and my mom and dad talking about it. It was like a big expense, and we had to be careful turning the pages, and goodness knows if that topic wasn't in the encyclopedia, then it just didn't exist. So different from how it is now.
I'm sorry. I got distracted. No, I know. The guy coming to the house with the encyclopedia, isn't that like crazy to think that like they're never going to experience that at all? Like, so every time that's referenced from now on in popular culture, the kids are going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the encyclopedia?
There's too many things that they won't ever have the experience of.
It's crazy.
It's true. That's true. That's a whole other Google Hangout on Air, ladies. A whole other one.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, like you were talking about how the kids learn or whatever. I would say like for especially like my little kids, but even with my 8-year-old right now, who's this summer needs to learn her multiplication facts. I would say that like songs, like dancing, like books, like those kind of things really, 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 really work with us. Games where you can move, like that kind of stuff, it makes an enormous difference. It's more fun, but two, so much easier for them to remember.
Yeah. Well, and so one thing you can look for when you're watching your children with media or when you're engaged in media with them is active learning. And it's something that we've always, because I'm a mom, like first things first, I'm a mom. And my daughter Leah was born deaf, my daughter Lucy was born with spina bifida, and we started creating media to bridge those worlds. So whether it's a language barrier or communication barrier, and what I started noticing with my sister, who is my business partner, is there was media where your kids sit there and they zone out, right? And we call that passive viewing. And then there's interactive or active viewing where your kids are engaged, they're actually speaking, like they're having a conversation and they're moving. And so that's something we always incorporate, and it's really something you want to watch for with media. If your kid is sitting there and they've got that glazed look, and you're talking to them and they don't respond like 10 times, that is passive media. It's passive viewing. If they're standing up, they're moving their body, they're singing, they're dancing, just like you said, Megan. They're signing. Media can be used that way to encourage that. And so that's the kind of stuff we create as moms, creating shows and educational content for families like yours. So we also, we call it layered learning, where they're learning more than one thing at a time. So they're hearing a word, they're seeing a word, so they're getting receptive and expressive early literacy skills, learning a second language through sign language. I mean, we just deliver a massive amount of content in a 30-minute time frame, and it reaches so many different age levels as well. So that's one of the things you can watch for as a parent.
Rachel, I have to tell you a story. So my kids were watching the TreeSchoolers episode with the clouds and the precipitation and the whole thing or whatever. And so they're even my big kids like think it's like fun to do the sign, you know, whatever. And so then later on in the day, while they're just like super into Legos, all three of them like just build and play Legos together, you know, like all the time or whatever. And so during their like play, you can overhear them using the vocabulary words, like talking about it just from watching it once. Like it really is, it makes like such a difference how it's presented and if they get to have a part in it. You know, like they got to have a part in the show, whether or not somebody, like, you know, whether you knew they were or not, like they were a part of it, and then later on it just like came out. So I have to say, it's like really like that is the kind of stuff that makes like I think my life easier as a mom. You know what I mean? Like that there's all these like ways that you can kind of get them interested in new things too that they might not have brought up yesterday, and yet here by the end of the day they had a lot of new information. So
that's really my goal. And as we create, whether I'm writing songs or creating new shows, our rule is we never dumb it down, like ever, ever, ever. And in fact, when Signing Time first went to public television, after our first season, they requested that we cut our content in half. The programmer said, if you want to give us another season, we need you to cut the content in half because we think you teach too much. And they said, we want every child to feel successful. So most shows only teach 3 things. And I was just, like, as I thought about it, it's true, Dora and Diego, there's like the 3 things on the map.
That is true.
I know. And so in Signing Time, we teach like 30 signs. I'm like, you can do that in a song. You know, you can learn all of your colors of the rainbow, and you learn a lot of things in 30 minutes. So we've kind of gone against the grain that way. And then, as you mentioned, Megan, Rachel and the TreeSchoolers is our new show, and it's really the end goal is to have a full preschool curriculum in 13 episodes.
Cool.
When you think about the time, like I said, I'm not a proponent of 8 hours of school, but to deliver that in 13 episodes, and that's what we have on Kickstarter right now. You saw Rainy Day, and we teach cumulus clouds, and what is a cloud, and why does it rain? And growing up, one of my favorite shows was Schoolhouse Rock. And so I can still sing What is a Bill, like major, concepts, because when you put it to music, that's the secret in the sauce. Kids can learn anything. So we've taught photosynthesis, like you said, the rainy day, all about insects, and our next batch are about the human body and keeping your body happy and healthy, and then about animals, and the ones we're funding right now, the next one is air and water and the earth sciences, and then it's kind of up for grabs depending on what backers want. We actually, believe it or not, listen to our viewers, and we incorporate their feedback, so it'll be up to backers if they want the arts or music or phonics or counting or whatever. So I don't know, that's what we do, that's how we do it.
Rachel, that's awesome. So how do you think that the layered learning idea is going to change the dynamic of learning?
Like I said, they're so much more capable than many teachers and especially programmers and creators give them credit for. They can learn so much at one time. They can learn, really they get bored so easily. And so it's delivering numerous content, like different concepts all at once. And so I think it's a game changer because, like Megan said, her kids started sharing, this is, using words that they hadn't used.
Yeah.
Appropriate words this round, right? Because they learned it watching one of our shows.
Well, and I think it really is fostering a sense of confidence. I would especially say for my one who's going to be in pre-K next year, she just felt like a total rock star. That she just knew these things and was talking about it with the big kids. I think even more so than necessarily learning the concepts, just the fact that you feel like you can learn feels cool. It's empowering. So I think that's fun too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see. So we have a giveaway question. Hang on, I'm checking this out. I was saying last time I was on a panel. I wasn't the moderator, so forgive. So the giveaway question. Ready? It's question 4. So bloggers and community comments how do you define emotional intelligence? So this is a new concept you'll see in learning. How do you define emotional intelligence, and why is it so important for children to learn that?
And we're taking live answers. Is that what it is?
It says community comments. We're going to see what moment forward says.
Write it on the event page.
Ha.
Just right there.
I can't see that page. So bloggers answer first. Have you even heard this term, emotional intelligence?
I mean, okay. Yes, I have. Okay. I'm sorry.
I know a lot of people haven't.
Forcing it from people outside of the hangout. I wasn't paying attention really. Yes, emotional intelligence. I love it. I'm so glad that we're like focusing on it, and this is like a new thing coming. I think it's very much needed. I'm a huge fan.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think it's something that has always been around, but we're just now kind of putting a name to it. So, teaching kids like empathy, recognizing times that they should extend a helping hand to a friend in need. I would say that emotional intelligence is really just kind of helping kids like think about intelligent emotions and kind of name them. Recognize when a good time for certain emotions is.
Mm-hmm.
No? Yes? I don't know.
I think so. What to do when they need help? What to do when you feel scared. I agree.
To help them identify their emotions and, I guess, accept them, celebrate them.
Yeah,
and
communicate them, right? And communicate them, like be able to appropriately say what is going on for them and share them. So there's been some recent studies. We look so much, in the past, we've looked so much at IQ as an indicator of success and intelligence. And the most recent research has shown that your EQ, your emotional, or your EI, your emotional intelligence, is really, it plays a bigger difference in your success. Like because it's your human interaction, it's how you interact with others. And so it's kind of a new thing you'll hear a lot about, and it's something, like I said, that a lot of people pass over, but we're incorporating that as well. The empathy, being kind to others, noticing when people are different, and sorting out how do you address that with your kids, and how do you teach your children to address that when you're out and about in public. And so, like I said, luckily, I have a daughter who's deaf, and I have a kid in a wheelchair. We're kind of pros. We're kind of pros at fielding those questions from your kids,
Yeah. Well, I think as a parent, too, it's so hard to, recognize that each child is different, especially your situation's a little bit different, Rachel, because there are very obvious differences in your girls, but
they're still so different, like night and day different personalities,
So yeah, I mean, and I guess just recognizing that even one might be more emotional, and it might be the boy who's more emotional, and so that's fine. Recognizing that as a parent and embracing that. And for us, we've really had a hard time, just helping our youngest identify her emotions. Where my first two were pretty okay with that. They got it right away. They were very attentive when people were upset, but she just didn't seem to mind or be as aware of emotions as the other two. So that was kind of an eye opener for me. Here I am, like rolling with parenting. Number 3 comes around. I think I know what I'm doing, and I'm like, wait, why is she not doing X, Y, or Z? But it's the emotional intelligence. There are so many great programs and books and language that parents can use to help support that now, which I think way back when we were little, our parents were like, come on, buck up, you're fine,
Exactly.
And that's why we're as tough as we are right now.
Well, stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's fine. Well, I think when you're a parent, though, that is like the most vulnerable place that you're in. When you don't, like, you know, if your kid doesn't know how to do something, you feel like you can teach it to them. But when your kid is somewhere and they're not interacting or interpreting or having the correct response, when they're not getting the emotions of the situation and they don't know how to handle it, it's so hard as a parent to even start to know what to act, because you're stressed too. So I think that I really love, because I think that so many times it becomes something that we work on like after the fact, but I love how so many people that I know, it's so thundering in my house, I'm sorry, I'll get closer some louder. So many people that I know though now it's more commonplace. We're like discussing it with each other. It's kind of something that it's focused on, and I think it's just going to be so much better for, you know, for kids, but also for parents. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to know what to do in these situations. You know, like every other day you're like, your kid needs to be able to share before they get to kindergarten. Like, you don't have to make your kid share. Like, you don't share it's so, you're just like, I don't know what to do. Don't do anything, because it's just like, it gets crazy. So I think that having a way to, you know, learn with your kid how kids learn how to do these things is really, it's really helpful. And very, very stress relieving for parents.
So great. It's true. I find that I feed off my children's stress. Like, if they're upset, then I get upset because they're upset, and I want them to calm down, and they'll probably never calm down because now I'm upset too, you know? So it really is. It's navigating just the human connection and communication, I think. So, all right. So, ladies, what are indicators for you that your child is learning from what they watch?
Go ahead.
I think, kind of, Megan, you mentioned this before, you know, when the kids are talking about what they've learned and the TV's, you know, off, you know, and they carry that learning to, you know, conversations with their grandparents or their teacher or their Sunday school, whatever. They're talking about and are excited about the concepts way after the TV's off.
So yeah, in a totally unprompted setting, I agree. And then they want to know more, and they want, you know, and it like starts a whole new chain of things. I totally agree. That's
so great. So great. And we actually, in TreeSchoolers, we incorporate that. So we've studied how children learn, and how, you know, there's sometimes they learn things and they forget them. But the way we've sorted out through research that children can learn and keep what they learn forever is if they share what they've learned with someone else. And so, like you said, Megan, when you hear them talking about it, we tell them, go, you know, what have you learned? And then share it with a friend. So we have steps of learning. The first is asking a question. And I know some parents are like, why do they keep asking questions? But that's really how we learn. So first you have your children, you know, they have a question. And when we get to even summertime learning, this is great. It's like, what do they have questions about? And then you ask an expert. And, you know, we didn't have the expert Google growing up, but our kids do. You know, you can go to a library. Oh, my gosh, a library. What is that? Or a museum, or, you know, depending on what it's about, you ask an expert. Then you tell someone what you've learned. And when your child then shares that information becomes theirs forever. They'll never, ever forget it, because now they're the author of it. And so that's one thing that you can watch for and encourage, actually, asking a question, locating an expert, like who would be an expert on this subject, learning from that expert, and anything hands-on will make a huge difference, and then asking them, so what did you learn? Have them share it with you. They can share it with anybody, and then it becomes their knowledge forever. Just kind of a cool thing.
Awesome. And that's something we could totally do in a like super fun way through the summer and all the summer learning that we're doing. I mean, that's, you know, getting them, their brain moving, their wheels turning, creating curious kids, and then finding experts either online or at the library or in their neighborhood, and then having them share that information in some cool way. So thank you for sharing that information. That's really super.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents don't realize that, and it's so simple. It's so simple. You know, ask a question, find an expert, get the answer, and share it. You know, in any way. It can be through an art project, it can be through, you know, planting a seed and watching that happen, and then whatever you do, create a way that they can share it. That's why science fairs works, and, you know, things like that. But that's the crucial step that they share. They teach you the sign that they learned. Oh, and you'll see kids do this naturally. You know, a 4-year-old will go to their infant sibling and be like, this is the sign for more, and they take their hands and help them sign it. They do it. They want to pass that along. So critical, and that's just a great little tip for this summer as you learn with your children. They'll teach you some amazing things, I'm sure.
Great.
So Rachel, what can you tell us about the Kickstarter campaign?
Our Kickstarter campaign, you know what? Kickstarter's amazing, and if you are looking to launch something, contact me. This is my 3rd campaign, and really for a small business, like we are mostly a family-owned business. It's me and my sister that own it, so small women-owned business. It has been a lifesaver. It has been extraordinary. For 14 years, we have never had outside funding. So we've never taken investors. We haven't ever had, I mean, you see us on PBS, but they don't pay us. We gave it to them so that they could put it in homes. You see us on Nick Jr., they didn't pay us. They just play my songs, and it's great advertising. So for 14 years as 2 sisters, like out to make a difference, and we're taking loans as we sell a product, we pay it back. This is the first time in the history of Two Little Hands Productions that we've been able to bring in money in advance, create a project, and then deliver it. And it is a total game changer for business people, for entrepreneurs. You create a project, you put it up as the creator, and if people like it, they can back it. Now, it's not a donation. It's not a nonprofit. They actually say, I'm going to give this amount of money, and this is the reward I choose. So you get something for it, and you become part of the team. You become part of the reason that our shows even happen. So we say a lot of children's shows, they're brought to you by Chuck E. Cheese, or they're brought to you by Juicy Juice. Our shows are brought to you by you. They're brought to you by families like you, families who care about the content their children are watching. And the way that families can make sure that this type of educational content continues to be available is by becoming a backer, whatever level you are comfortable with. It's from $1 to $10,000, and we've actually had people back at $10,000. Like, holy cow! They got a private Rachel Coleman concert. It was 15 people. So our Kickstarter ends on Saturday. It ends Saturday. When it's over, it's over. If we don't reach our goal, we get 0. We get not 1 cent, nada, zilch, and no one gets any rewards. It is all or nothing. If we reach our goal by Saturday night, we get the money to produce new shows, and we deliver all of the rewards. We make good on our promises. So we should check in and see even where we are, because I don't know.
Do we know? Do we know?
Oh, yeah, look, hang on. Let's pull up.
I checked earlier today. You're close. You got a little bit to go.
47 hours to go. So it ends Saturday night, and it is currently at $136,846 with 966 backers bringing in that amount of money. Oh, look, they're pledging. Are you pledging so that I can up it? And our goal is $200,000, which gives us about $66,000 per episode. Now, just so you know, children's television, most episodes are over $350,000 to make. So the shows you watch, they cost over $350,000 to make. And because we do this, there's no overhead, there's no studio, the $66,000 is enough of a contribution that we bring the rest, and we're able to continue making smart media for your smart kids. So that's what Kickstarter is. So, oh, wait a minute. I think we have a winner. So let's see. So you got it, Kickstarter.com. You search Signing Time or search TreeSchoolers. You will find us. And you can also find us, there's every post on Facebook right now from Signing Time, TreeSchoolers, and Rachel Coleman. You'll find links there. And like I said, every bit helps. Every bit helps. And as I said, we did have an angel come forward and say, we have $10,000 set aside. When you reach 190, we'll make that pledge. So watch for it. It's so much fun. It's the funnest thing on TV is Kickstarter right now as you watch it go. So let's see. We have the giveaway winner is Carl. We have it forward. Behunin. Pronounce it for me, ladies. I'm not sure.
Behunin?
Behunin. Carl Behunin. And they're giving us updates. 130,000 giveaways. Why not? Give stuff away. Okay.
So what did they win? Wait, did I miss What did he win?
What? Tell us.
Oh,
Tell us what he
cool.
won, Mama Forward.
He won a Rachel and the TreeSchoolers episode 1 to 3 DVD and CD set, personally autographed by Rachel.
Awesome.
Autograph that. I'll totally autograph
I'm
that.
jealous of Carl.
Well, you know, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of, and I'm pretty nice and willing to autograph stuff for people. That's probably my downfall.
I still dig autographs. I like them. I think so.
So
Rachel,
fun.
this has been so nice. Thank you so much for, taking the time to chat and sharing all this information with everybody, and hopefully everybody grabs some cool ways of making learning fun this summer, especially with the 3 ways that will the 3 steps that kids have to do to remember what they learn. Which want to remind everybody, Rachel? First thing.
Yeah. So the first thing they do, they figure out what they want to learn about. So you ask a question, encourage them. Why is the sky blue? Why are the clouds? Encourage them. Well, that's a great question. Why don't you go find an expert? Now it's not you. You're like, I'm not an expert. Let's discover who would be an expert on why the sky is blue. So now it's in their court, right? And it keeps them busy. So they ask an expert, and they find their answer, and then they share that answer. They can come back and deliver it to you instead of you doing all the work, right? Yay! And that's going to be our summer.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're getting the axe, it looks like.
All right, go. You guys, thank you so much. It's been so much fun, really. So great. And all of your feedback.